down and swarm teams. They thrive off the fact that they're a good defensive side. And when they were, especially the start of the second half in that one, where they really hit the breakdown, put numbers in, and made life difficult for New Zealand.
Are we seeing cracks in the Kiwi confidence, in the Kiwi overall system and structure, or are we looking up in the stands and seeing Sonny Bill Williams and Liam Messam and Tim Mickelson and Scott Curry and thinking, no, New Zealand have kind of got this under control?
I think we're seeing that New Zealand Sevens doesn't have the same strength and depth as some of the other nations. The likes of South Africa have probably got a stronger sort of 16, 17, 18-man squad. Fiji definitely do. New Zealand, when they have their first starting 7, they've got their starting 12 squad, then they'll still be there or thereabouts, but I think that they've not got quite the same depth below that.
Sure. Would it be fair then, if we look to teams like Australia and Kenya, probably the next tier coming up and the next level coming up, it's the lack of depth? Is that something that in countries where sevens perhaps isn't such a force as it is in some of those nations you just mentioned?
Yeah, certainly. I think probably the lower down you get, the fewer players that they have that can compete at this level and do well. Australia have actually managed to do pretty well with their consistency this season. I think they've scraped through a couple of times in quarter-final matches, and it's ended up for them looking pretty good on the scoreboard at the end of it. But they perhaps haven't rotated as much as other teams have, certainly as much as England have. But they've managed. Their new guys have come in, have done well, and they've discovered a couple of guys like Henry Hutchison on the wing who's turned out well for them.
Yeah, so the South Africans are enjoying their moment in the sun. They will host the plate final, and it'll be against the winner of this one, Australia and Kenya in Paris.
Resplendent in the green and gold here at the Stade Jean-Bouin in Paris. The HSBC World Rugby 7 Series, the penultimate event, will be off at Twickenham next weekend for the final one before Sevens returns to the Olympic fold. Kenya. With some early possession here. Simba's looking come inside. Amunde. Wanyama. Collins Injera. Waits. Flies it out to his brother. He's scored a couple here in Paris, isn't he? Advantage to Kenya. You see what Collins Injera is trying to do there. Waiting for a player to come on his shoulder to just pop the little offload in there.
Always looking for space, isn't he? It's having the control of the body in the breakdown area and able to manipulate and turn to get the arms free into space. They're fighting in the contact area again. Australia, well, they're competitive in that area there, but we'll come back to the initial knock-on here. So once again, it'll be Injera to feed to the scrum, and again, it's more ball for the Kenyans. Australia holding well currently. Discipline in their defensive line. See if they can marshal the Kenyan side to where they want to put them. That's what it's all about in defence.
Your last play loss again. It's New Zealand, Kenya. They already flicked a speculative ball inside, and now it's Australia. Cameron Clark, really strong fend off the right. He gets back to his feet so very quickly, Cameron Clark. Perahai. Cut Shunan. Clark has stayed out wide. They may not need him, but he's created that hole, hasn't he? Staying out wide. There's spaces inside. Kenyan defence just unable to cover all the gaps. And it's Con Foley with a big 5-pointer.
Well, it was good from the scrum. It was great defence by Australia. Really worked the line extremely well. Got high up the field and forced a turnover. This is the end of the play here. The offload out the back. Shipped on through into the hands of Coley. The inside defenders are dropped off. You've got to keep working in this game. That third defender on the inside, third defender, you've got to keep pushing. You've got to track the ball from the inside. If you don't, spaces opens up. Foley took it. Great try, Australia.
Australian legend. Very firmly sits in that category, doesn't he? George Gregan, HSBC, can't even say it now, HSBC Ambassador. Olic, strong tackle from the Kenyan.
High tackle.
Click here. Yep, you're on it. Play.
Stannard. There he is again, slotting in at 9. Comes back to him. There's a 3-on-1 for a moment. And Australia with all this possession at the moment. 7-0 up. Clark, it's so easy. There's massive holes now. But it's that man again. Confoli with a double.
Great attack by Australia. They've identified the weakness in this Kenyan outfit, and that seems to be all these switches back to the blind side. This time it was Stannard down the outside. Read the play very well. Hutchinson did very well in the contact area. Foley, he had a 20-metre gap to run into in that one there, and that was just a walk-in try. But it's their ability to hit the middle of the park, reload and replay back down the blind side. Hit that blind side, because Kenya are really dropping off on their work rate here. And even just their body language walking back for this kickoff reception, they look like they're thinking about London already.
Some interested spectators. There you go. To restart nicely. Yeah, Kenya have to be in the mood, don't they? It's always going to be interesting psychologically how they reacted to the historic first ever cup win.
Holding on.
In Singapore. Up until this point, it's been a very positive reaction. Just feel they need to get some possession, and there's an opportunity now because they have the penalty. Amunde is dragged back by the referee for not taking it from the mark.
This was Myers coming in. You'll just see losing his feet, going over the top, hands on the ground. Bridging, call it what you want, but protecting the player with your hands on the ground. You've got to be able to support your own body weight and not use the ground. And the referees, obviously, in the game of 7, things are a lot clearer than for to see on that occasion. They're the attacking, clean-out player. Getting penalised. Kenya, 50 to go on the clock. 50 seconds in this first half. Can they create something worthwhile?
14 is the lead for Australia. It'd be a great time to score, wouldn't it? And just as we say that, of course, the curse of the commentator, can you knock it on? And that opportunity fades away to nothing. Not too much to sing and dance about. The Kenyan supporters at the moment, although some of the French fans here at the Stade Jean-Bouin beginning to find their voices. France against Fiji. There's a sing-off going on here at the Stade Jean-Bouin. That's going to be a great cup semi-final, isn't it? After Argentina, Samoa. There's the cockerel. Half-time is upon us. Stannard. Talking about Kenya scoring before half-time. Australia pretty much wrap this one up. If they can score again, it's another strong fan. And there it is, try number 3. And it's Ed Jenkins, the skipper.
Well, the play goes left. They bring them wide out to the left-hand side. It comes back to the right-hand side. They're going width, wide. Then the holes are opened up. Here he comes through. Well, he doesn't even need the handoff there. You've got to say the effort of Injera there, not something that'll make the coaches too happy, I'm sure, about it. But they've been off the pace in this one, haven't they, Kenya? There's, we'll just say it's a little bit of mental tiredness out there potentially for this team. And as the half-time whistle is gone, there'll be some stern words, I imagine, in those huddles, particularly in the Kenyan one.
That golden third score just before half-time for Australia. good lead for them now. How can Kenya turn this around? Let's see what the coaches have to say.
Hill heading for a place in the final. What was the key for you, Colin? What was the difference?
I think just Australia looked, they had a bit more intensity and a higher work rate. We saw when Kenya made a break up the pitch, it was Australia that had 3-4 guys back, forced the turnover. And James Stannard, rather than thinking, oh, take a bit of tempo out of the game, kick to touch, play from there, he recognised there was an opportunity to attack straight away, and it ends up with Australia going up the far end of the pitch and scoring themselves.
Yeah.
They've then added a third try onto that. And Kenya just so effective when it comes to breakdowns, but they're just not getting the opportunity because Australia are working so hard to get their men in support of the ball carrier.
Perhaps the chance now for the Kenyans with ball in hand in the right side of the field as we hand you back live to Paris.
More direct now, some fresh legs on for them. Munday off the right-hand side, had to turn in. Great step. And Kenya do pull one back. Needed to respond to Australia's 3 tries in that first half. Needed to score early, and that is exactly what they've done.
Well, Odhiambo does extremely well here. I'm not sure what